I have spent so much time experimenting with and frankly obsessing over things like mouse sensitivity and field of view in the endless pursuit of improving my aim. But the problem is, I'm a human, and whether I like it or not, I've developed all sorts of bias towards certain settings that makes experimenting unfair. Certain settings I just can't give a fair chance to. In my mind, they're too fast, too slow, or I aimed badly on it this one time. You name it, there's probably a bias for it. So it's about time I got a second opinion, and who better than from an AI like ChatGPT. And believe me, when I started this video, I thought it would just be a bit of a laugh watching me flounder around on some weird settings, but little did I know, this experiment would be a total game changer for me. So strap in and enjoy my AI guided journey to some shockingly effective settings. I have now established it as my coach, asked it for a sensitivity recommendation for Apex, and given it my DPI. It's basically given me an essay with some pretty accurate and safe advice, but what's a bit scary here is the recommendation of using 2 to 3 cents in game. Considering I currently use 0.85, this is going to feel extremely fast. Now, I want the AI to choose everything for me, so I have to ask it to be more specific. Okay, so we're starting in the middle at 2.5. With sense out of the way, let's get our field of view. Once again, it's given me some well-rounded advice, but I needed to give me a single value to choose. Okay, so 105. I'm pretty happy with that. I usually play between 100 and 110, like it suggested anyway. As for what weapons to use, it looks like I'll be running the R301 and R99 whenever I can, which should be pretty fun. And finally, it'll have me running Bloodhound, which honestly I'm pretty happy about. I've only just started playing Apex again after a long break, so the scans are a helpful crutch till I get my bearings again. I'll play a team deathmatch, then head back to my coach for some feedback. Great, so we have the R301, and I completely spin around when trying to look a little to the left. Alright, this is going to take some getting used to. Oh, not a great start. Turning around seems to be a real problem for me, and I'm seriously over-aiming here. I mean, that wasn't bad though. Nice. And neither was that. I'm actually doing surprisingly well on this. Maybe I spoke a bit too soon there. That was pretty messy. At least so far, I can tell that it definitely feels too fast, which I guess I expected, but there is some promise. It's not actually as bad as I thought. The actual tracking really isn't terrible. But man, the way I spin around when I'm trying to evade is a bit ridiculous. Matching their speed is definitely looking tough. Yeah, this starts out okay, but I'm missing a lot of shots on some easy targets. Kinda bringing it back towards the end though. Alrighty, first team deathmatch done. Overall, I think that went better than expected, considering the huge sensitivity leap from 0.85 to 2.5. That's 40.7 centimeters per 360 to 13.8. It definitely felt too fast, so I'll let coach know that and see what it suggests. Okay, looks like we'll try a bump down to 2. Figured I could also use a morale boost, so coach has prepared a rousing motivational speech for my next game. Thank you.
Legends, today we enter the arena with fierce determination, driven by the unrelenting spirit of Bloodhound. With their razor-sharp senses and unwavering focus, we shall take to the battlefield with a sense of purpose and a hunger for victory. So let us take up our weapons and charge headfirst into battle, for we are the champions of the arena, the masters of our destiny, and the unstoppable force that will emerge victorious.
This match on 2 was a similar story of some decent moments mixed in with plenty of over-aiming and shakiness, but with these 2 matches out of the way, coach is getting dialed in, and the next game blew my mind. Coach had me change further down to 1.5, which is still about twice as fast as my normal sense, but this next TDM felt completely different. Tracking was on point, target acquisition was clean, the excessive over-aiming was gone, and while it still felt a little unsteady, this did an amazing job of dismantling that built-up bias. Previously, I wouldn't have given 1.5 any chance, but coach helped me work through it. I still knew this felt a bit too fast, so I asked coach for some more feedback. Secretly, I was kinda hoping for something like 1.2 or 1.3, but it ended up giving me 1, which at the time was a little disappointing, but Let me tell you, coach made a very good call. At first, it actually felt a bit too slow, and I suppose the jump from 1.5 to 1 is actually quite significant. This was an 11 centimeter jump, whereas 2.5 to 2 is only a 4 centimeter jump. I found a Kraber and couldn't pass up the opportunity, so thought I'd try some flicks as I'd only really been tracking so far, and much to my surprise, they felt really crisp. I played a few more death matches on these settings and honestly had a great time. Close, mid, and long range aiming all felt dialed in, whereas previously on 0.85 I was having problems with close range fights. I went on to try some variations like 1.2, 1.1, 0.9 and so on in my own time, but none felt quite as responsive and natural as 1, but who knows, maybe that's just the bias kicking in again. So, landing on 1 puts me at 34.6 centimeters per 360, which is a decent departure from my usual 40 to 45 centimeters. I do have some thoughts on why this may have worked out though. If I were to use Overwatch 2 as a baseline where my sensitivity and aim feel really good on 45 centimeters, we can look at some interesting conversions. Overwatch is on 103 horizontal field of view, and Apex using a different scale on 105 field of view is equal to 119 horizontal. Now, if I were to simply copy the centimeters across, Apex would actually feel much slower, even though the number is the same. The pixels per degree of movement is different. This is why we wouldn't use the same hip fire sense for a 10 times scope. The scope would feel uncontrollably fast. Using a conversion method called focal length scaling, which maintains the feel between FOV changes, if I were to do this for my 2.55 sense in Overwatch to Apex, it would equal 1.03, which is about spot on with the sense of 1 that I ended up at. I've been aware of this conversion method and already tried it from Overwatch to Apex to no avail. There was always something off about playing on an entirely new range of centimeters per 360, even though the feel was quite similar. But considering the results of this little experiment, perhaps all I needed was more time on this new range to get me out of my comfort zone. Ultimately, I don't think ChatGPT's advice was anything too special. I mean, it did recommend 2.5 on my 1200 DPI to start out, which is absurdly fast for anyone. But what it did do really well was allow me to externalize my decision making. If it's just up to me, my accumulated bias gets in the way, but with an impartial party telling me what to play on and me doing my best with what I was given, this led to me finding a sensitivity that is not only more fun to use, but makes me a more well-rounded aimer in Apex Legends. So, if you're in a position where you're always changing your settings and they never quite feel right, I can highly recommend outsourcing your changes to AI. At best, you might find your settings sweet spot, and at worst, it's still a bit of fun. Be sure to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll catch you in the next one.